Greg, we missed you, so you can go first this week.
Yeah, and like you
As
said,
mentioned, yeah.
yeah, Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz HD. You may remember towards the end of the year, I was like fading out on the Switch a wee bit. I found it a disappointing year, and there actually wasn't that many games that I was really interested in picking up. But Monkey Ball probably would have been one that I was sort of looking at. So I was kind of thankful that my brother picked that one for Christmas, because I wasn't entirely sure what was in the parcel. um, where do you start with Monkey Ball? Like if you're bringing back a Monkey Ball game, obviously the first one is the one that springs to mind for me, is the one like that's the best one. Even now, like people say maybe Super Monkey Ball 2 on the GameCube's the best one. Nonsense. The first one is still where it's at. So I actually remember playing Banana Blitz on the Wii. I don't have it anymore, but I do remember playing it quite early in the Wii's life, and the motion controls were like got a lot of hate from most people as usual, but I actually found it pretty decent, and had a decent amount of fun with the game. And then I think I got to a point in it where it was like, I'm kind of done with this, or the levels were getting too frustrating or something. It's like, I don't really care about this anymore, so I got rid of it. But I was actually kind of excited to play it again on the Switch, and for a while I was actually quite enjoying it, as I think you were too, Nick.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, it's like the first few worlds. It's like, right, it's very basic, very simple. And it's got a jump button in it, like the originals never had. But like the jump button's actually fine. It's not really an issue. It actually opens up some different possibilities with what you can do with in terms of obstacles and things. So there's no problem with that. The problem, like I say, the first few worlds are just extremely easy. They've got barriers up around the sides where they just don't need to be barriers. It's just the levels, a lot of the levels just seem really wide, not an awful lot of things happening. And then you come to the end of each world, and there'd be a boss fight, and some of them are fine, and then some of them are not fine. They're like before you fight the boss, there's that zooms in on like a very obvious weak point. It's like flashing big arrows going into it. It's like that's where you have to hit. So so it's basically like looking to see like a typical sort of boss fight. A boss will do like a move, and then it'll be open for an attack, and most of them are fine, but you'll get a few cheap bosses where it's like they fling you off the stage just with so much ease, and it's like you know what's coming and you think you're prepared for it, and it just for some reason it still catches you, and it can make things very frustrating, especially if it's a boss that takes quite a few hits to take down. Like you'll easily hit it like 3 or 4 times, and then it maybe just catch you the next time. It's like, oh, I have to go through that whole thing again. So you're kind of just wanting to get through the boss fight just to get back to the normal stages. But then the normal stages sort of, they have this thing that Monkey Ball did introduce with each iteration, where it's like the levels aren't entirely based on skill. They have like it's almost like a random element where it's like the levels are, it's like there's plenty of cheap deaths in it. It's like the things I liked about the first game was like, oh, you'd maybe be going through it and it'd be like the pathways would be getting more narrow. You'd be going down like stepways, and then you'd have to like dodge past like the springs or whatever that would knock you off course easy. Whereas this one here, it's just like the way the levels are designed, like there's kind of like slopes and things that make it really awkward to stay on and stuff, and it's not it's kind of hard to explain, I suppose. It's the levels don't feel like they're designed where you could potentially beat them on your first attempt. They're like, there's one where I was going through, and you end up going through this big sort of like hoop at the end of it, like a big, it's almost like a funnel of a thing, and your monkey just goes down through it, and it's like, oh, the goal's right at the end. But if you're not going fast enough through that, and you don't realise because you can't see with the camera or anything, you just come out at the end of it and fall before you reach the goal. So it's like, all right, I need it to be going full speed to hit that goal down there. whereas you didn't have a clue what was on the other end unless you had went into like the menu and checked like and viewed the entire course. So it can be quite frustrating at times. In terms of the visuals, it actually looks pretty nice. It's clean. Like each of the worlds they've got a nice vibe. Like I can't really complain about that there. The music's fine. But I don't. It's weird because I like it, and there's some levels I go through, and you get glimpses of what Monkey Ball could be and should be. Is like, but there was a level I did, and it's like going through, and you sort of go into like this like rotating platform. It's like a thin one. You go onto that, and then you have to like jump through a hole onto the other side of this rotating platform, and then jump off onto. And it's like, this is what Monkey Ball should be. It's like a nice challenge, but like I'm in control. I'm not waiting for some level hazard to sort of like screw me over in some way, or some thing that I haven't seen before that just knocks me off course for a reason that I didn't anticipate. And it's like I want more of that, but too often it goes in the wrong direction, and none more so than World 10-5, which was my nemesis towards the end of the game. I absolutely hated that level, everything about it. A brief description, it's like it introduces a thing which you haven't seen throughout the rest of the game. It's like the floor it's like made up almost of like wee pyramids, sort of like all in a row. So it's like you're rolling forward, and it's not like an even surface, so you're sort of like wobbling through them. That's fine, and then you come to a bit where you have to jump across platforms which have these wee like pyramidy bits on top of them. The issue is, if you jump on them and then try and jump onto the next platform, as soon as you land, you don't know if you're going to like, you don't know exactly which sort of part of the level you're going to actually land on. So it like you'll bounce off in like an awkward direction, and it's impossible to judge, and it's the most frustrating thing. It's like, surely somebody play tested it and seen that it just was absolute nonsense, and it was just frustrating. And I played through that level, it must have been hundreds of times, just until the one occasion where I managed to get across the bit that was troubling me the whole time. And like, even when I did get past that, like I was so nervous for the rest of that stage, just thinking I can't screw the rest of this stage up because I'm going to have to go back and do that again. Thankfully I managed it, but then like I've cleared the entire world now, and I didn't get the clear medal for it, so I honestly don't know what's happened there. And at this point I think I'm done with it. The mini games are okay. I guess there's a couple that are probably like, well, there was one I played with my brother shortly after Christmas, and it was okay. It was like a sort of overhead view, and you're sort of going around a course, and that was fine. Apart from that, I've only tried a few in single player, and they're not as good as the mini games in the original or Super Mario Ball 2. But Nick, what did you think of it all?
To be honest, I feel pretty much the same as you, but my frustration started a little bit earlier. I would say about World 6 is where I first had problems. World 7 is when everything just went to crap, basically. And I was like, God, this is the worst game I've ever played in my life. Like, for me, the difficulty spike was just very, very, very sudden. And it went from being like, okay, the first couple of worlds are way too easy, but you just kind of enjoy the aesthetic and play it. I agree completely about the visuals. It looks really nice. It's very clean. But then, yeah, World 6, I had a couple of problems, and then World 7, it was an absolute nightmare for me. I couldn't do it. There was a couple of levels that I was getting so frustrated. I think one of the main problems, or main reasons why I didn't have much luck was because when I was playing at home, I was on the handheld mode. So because the Joy-Cons have grooves in them, which they do, don't they? Yeah, the Joy-Cons have grooves in them. Or do they not?
Which side?
They don't.
Yeah, not that I know of. The only groove I can think of is down the rail itself.
No, I was thinking because
Are
like the
you talking
game
in terms of like the GameCube controller?
Yeah, like the GameCube one. No,
Yeah.
they're not like that.
No.
Why
they're
did I
not
think
like
they
that,
were
no.
then? That's weird. It's much easier with the GameCube controller then. I might actually try and play this with a GameCube controller because that Pro controller, you can't. You want to go in a straight line and you can't. And that's what's really frustrating about it more than anything for me is that I just the angles.
Is it using motion controls with the Pro controller?
No.
Oh, it's just on the completely analog. There's no motion controls in the game whatsoever.
No.
That actually surprised me because I thought the motion controls, the option would still be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say about not being able to go in a straight line, like that, I had that quite a lot as well. And what's more frustrating is I remember distinctly a level where it's like you're going down a thin platform and then like you sort of have to jump off onto another thin platform, but if you don't, then you're on like a wee platform below it, and then you need to get up onto the thin platform to go on.
I know which one you mean.
And the camera just turns round, and you can't like rotate the camera and to line it up properly. So you're like, it's almost impossible to get back up properly. There's quite a few issues with the camera.
The camera in this game is one of the worst cameras in any video game ever. It is so bad. And the fact
Apparently
that you have...
there's an update to 1.03 or 1.3, I don't think it's 1.3, 1.03, which happened yesterday, and they've addressed some camera problems in it.
They
haven't.
I played it today and it's just as bad. Just as bad.
Like I don't understand why they don't just let you rotate on the right stick. If you don't want to use it, fine. But
yeah. So it's been very mixed. I had a very, very good time with the first few worlds, and I was really enjoying it, and it felt like Monkey Ball. And I had this one for the Wii, but I definitely didn't get as far as I am now. I think I only played the first few worlds and then just sort of played something else, and I enjoyed it for what it was. But I've really enjoyed it on this one. I definitely would like to see the first two remade. But I also think, I also agree with you. I think the jump adds a lot to this game. I like the jump in this game. When you get it right, it feels really good. And even though it's only one button, to me it feels like you have a lot of control about the power of the jump, how high you go and stuff like that. Like it feels really, really good, the jump in this game. And that level that you're on about with the spinning tubes, when you have to jump between them, that's the one you're on about, isn't it? On the rails where there's like three and you have to jump between them. No? Is that not the level you were talking about?
spinning rails.
So there's like three railway lines, and there's a big tube on the first one, a medium-sized tube on the second, then a very small tube on the third.
Oh, no.
You have to jump between them. Well, that was a bit different. Like it's not the... It's not like a standard level. It's like its own sort of little unique level. And I really like the levels as well where you have to scale something and then like go across small gaps and if you fall, that's it. But you can still kind of save yourself because there is some bit on the ground that you can land on. But I think in World 7, I recorded a couple of videos when I was doing World 7 because there was one level where basically there's a lot of really long thin lines, and it's a really long track from the beginning to the goal, and the first part of the stage is quite wide, so I just used to just bounce on I didn't do it, I did it one time. I just bounced on that and then just got as much speed and power as possible, and I absolutely cheesed it all the way to the goal. So when that happens, it's quite funny.
I've definitely cheated it a few times. I'll probably actually have to share. I'll show you a couple of videos on YouTube. I have them saved onto the Switch, but it's just me straight for the goal. Yeah.
When that happens, it's great. It's so much fun. But I actually shared a video just before we started recording of my final boss fight. So if you want to have a laugh later on, I encourage you to go watch that video, and you'll see my real feelings about Super Monkey Ball.
Is that on Twitter?
It is, yeah.
There you are. You can follow Nick on Twitter at _Nicktendo_. Give it a watch.
The only other thing I would say about Monkey Ball is like the bananas thing. Like obviously you collect, I think it's you collect 20 and you get an extra life, something like that. And like, I actually thought when I first started the game, like I was going through and I was collecting every banana in the first world, thinking, right, if I get them all, I'll get a medal at the end. That's not actually the case. You get a medal for like not using a continue. So getting the extra lives obviously helps with not using the continue. So that's fine. But once you get to the later worlds, like trying to do that without using a continue, like I don't see how people can do it, because it's just infuriating, maddening, and it's like really random at times. So I kind of got to the point where I felt like the bananas didn't really serve that much of a purpose.
Yeah.
Like in the later worlds, like I just ignored them completely because I thought, right, I'm gonna die here anyway, so I'm not gonna get my champion medal. So it would have been nice if like the bananas unlocked like an extra level at the end of each world or something, like if you collected a certain amount. But apart from that, like I know it's easy to criticize the game and it is frustrating towards the end, but there's part of it is like it's still somehow really addictive just to want to play it, and it did actually bring me back to playing the Switch. So that's at least I can thank it for that.
I like the bananas, and they helped me in World 5 to get the champion medal, because I wouldn't have got it without them. And I was like, they provide that little extra challenge. Where it is like, I agree completely in the later worlds, but definitely in the middle sort of areas in World 5 and 6, it is a nice risk reward, because when you see a bunch of 10 bananas and you think, yeah, I can get that, but it's not really easy. They do provide that little extra challenge. And then you get like extra lives over time if you do enough of that. But I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm sure in the original on the Wii that there was a medal for collecting all the bananas, because in every stage there was a hidden banana. I'm sure there was. I remember doing this, and I remember looking online to find, because the hidden bananas were ridiculously hard to find. You basically had to hit everything. Am I misremembering that or not?
No, I actually think you're possibly right, because in my head I had played through everything on the Wii version, but when I got to 10 in Banana Blitz HD, like I didn't recognise that world at all, and like especially at like 10.5 I would have remembered 10.5. like so like I actually think they may have been unlocked with the bananas in some way.
Maybe
and that's maybe why I didn't get them in the Wii version. So yeah, you're probably right.
I have to research that after.
How many hours did you put into the game? I'm wondering from a kind of, is it worth the value for the time put in?
I would say I probably put in maybe 2.5-3 hours up till about World 9 maybe. And then after that probably put in another 3 hours. Probably put in 3 hours and 10.5 alone.
Because Monkey Ball games aren't known for their longevity, but it's that kind of game that you go back to, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's have another go at this. Yeah.
I'm at the final boss. I haven't beaten him yet, so the end of World 8, and I'm just over 5 hours. But I've been doing a lot of other stuff as well. I've been replaying Worlds, and I've done a few of the mini games, which are terrible. Monkey Target was so good in the originals, and this one is just awful. Like it's just not interesting.
Even Monkey Fight was great as well. Knocking each other with a big giant boxing glove off the edge of platforms. That was fun.
But no, I haven't had fun in the mini games on this one, unfortunately.
Shame.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a like if you've enjoyed our content. You can also check out our other great content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the N-E Café podcast from all good podcast providers. Just follow the links in the description below.